Hey y'all, thank you for joining me here on Heather's Passion Academy. I am your host and your neighborhood sexuality and intimacy coach, Heather. And tonight we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight. Of course, is the Boston. This is the second time in Boston, and we're talking about Wednesday's episode, which was, I don't remember the name of the episode, but it was episode 7. And we're going to talk about how we just need to throw this entire season away because, my goodness, they get on my nerves. Let's just talk about the fact that they get on all of my nerves right now. Like, all of them. Because I don't know. I hope this is the last episode that we're going to see of that child. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Miss Good Person USA 2022. Hopefully we're going to see the last of that. I'm not confident that we're going to actually see the last of her, but we just got to do what we got to do. Also, those of you who are joining us on Instagram, thank you so much for joining us tonight. But and then also, if you could go on over to YouTube, like this live, share, go ahead and comment as much as you want to so that we can have a good old time. And if you don't want to comment, that's fine as well because I can carry a conversation by myself. So there's that. All right, so the scene opens this not season, but this episode opens where we're looking at Lindsay Child and Mark. Let me tell y'all something. Both of them got a lot of hidden issues. And I think what's interesting about the two of them is that they are both a lot in their own different ways. And what I mean by that is when you're talking about those in particular, though they're different traits and everything. I think Mark has been relishing in the fact that he can kind of be like Mark the Shark, MTS, and all this type of stuff, and he just really wanted somebody else to bond with. I really don't think Mark is interested necessarily in a relationship as much as he's just interested in not being alone. That's just my particular feeling about it because, pretty much his whole family is gone. So I think he's just looking for the stability of having someone there for him. I think that he'll be interested as far as he'll look at Lindsay as family, but I don't think Lindsay would have been his first choice. Of course, I don't think either one of them that great of a catch, but that's my business. That's my opinion. So we'll see about that. So anyway, we open up in this particular episode, and we're looking at the fact that they're coming back from the honeymoon, and they're going right to the to his apartment. We know that he had a bed bug issue. We know that he had issues with his landlord changing the lease. We know that, right now his whole world is all over the place. It's just a lot happening right now with Mark and Lindsay. And she's looking to try to kind of, offer him some stability. It's just really crazy right now. But this is what they're doing right now. So we got Mark and Lindsay, and they're doing what they do. They enter his apartment with these hazmat suits on. I think that's funny. It's funny to me that they have hazmat suits on. I think that what probably should have happened is, and I don't know where they are financially. It's not my place, but I think that they probably needed a little bit of professional help to help them contain those bed bugs and everything. And then I can also understand Mark's frustration when Lindsay was helping too, right? During this time, they're going through the house. They're saying, she's going through and she's Mark, does this spark joy and all this kind of stuff. And she's kind of tossing everything in bags and everything. And his thing was, she just kind of tossing everything. And so he's not sure where everything's going. He's just unsure about how they're going about cleaning up and trying to move out. And I get that they're trying to move out in a hurry, but I think it would have also helped her to maybe not just grab garbage bags. Maybe it was a time for them to they maybe needed to have more of a plan. But the way that I look at what he's doing is he's letting her take the lead on a lot of stuff, and then his like hindsight is maybe that wasn't a good idea, and then he ends up being resentful in how things are happening because he's not really speaking up about how he wants things done. So they're going in there throwing everything in a bag and running out and everything, and maybe he should have just told her, look, I want these things boxed up. I need things to be a little bit more organized so I can have time to go through these things instead of just having everything everywhere. It would make me mad too if everything of mine was thrown into a plastic bag and just doubled up and been done with it. I think what they could have done was taken some time to put all the clothes in a couple of those Ziploc bag, not Ziploc bag, trash bags, then taking the time, take them to the laundromat, clean them, in hot water, dry them in, high heat and everything, and then bring those things to the house or to storage. And then with those other items that are not clothing items, do some type of containment for those things, and put those immediately in a storage bin or a storage container so that, he can have some type of control over how he cleans up or does that particular thing as far as getting rid of all that stuff. So we knew that he was going to throw away all the rest of his furniture and all that type of stuff. But I'm always not keen on people coming to other people's houses and telling them what's important and what's not important in their house because, people are attached to things. That's just the truth of the matter. And you have to be sensitive to that thing. And even if he didn't really use his parents' plates and stuff like that, it still belonged to his parents. And I think, you just have to be sensitive to those things. I think Lindsay does mean well, but at the same time, she just kind of steamrolls over things. She doesn't give people time to, to really digest what's going on. Anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and fast forward to their part of the second part of this episode where she and Mark have a blow up, and they seem to have more and more blow ups as to how he's handling the them coming together. Oh, let me put this up here. Move this up. You said it's always and it's already an emotional time. Now it's not the opportunity to go Marie Kondo. Absolutely, because she was like, does it spark joy, Mark? Let me tell you something. Lindsay is a lot. Lindsay is a lot. She has the type of personality where she does a lot of talking and not enough listening. And if you ever notice even when she's on these after shows and everything, she just kind of she talks with people. That annoys the hell out of me when people do that. She'll talk with you while you're trying to get a concept out, while you're trying to get an idea out. She'll just keep talking, but she doesn't do a lot of listening. And then what trips me out is that when somebody calls her on it, she gets all sensitive, and then all of a sudden, her feelings hurt and everything. And I'm like, maybe take the time to calm down and listen. Like, actually listen to your partner so that, you can, I don't know, learn from your partner sometimes. You could do that too, I think she always thinks she has the answers, and she, that's going to always be the thing that's going to keep her from being in a good relationship with anyone. Because if you think that, you're always right or you always have the answers and you can't seem to learn anything from your partner, then, that's going to be a problem. Yeah, steamroll was the word, steamroll. Going to the other part of the conversation, y'all, when Pastor Cal looks like this in a scene, y'all know he tired. He is tired. He is tired. He is tired. And I ain't gonna go over everything when it comes to them because I'm just not. I ain't gonna spend 2 hours of my life doing that. The thing with the two of them though is, and he said it in this particular conversation with Pastor Cal, a lot of times he doesn't know how to say what he needs to say because, and Pastor Cal told him, you seem like you're afraid. And he doesn't, he wants to say things tactfully. I think that's what he meant. He wants to say things tactfully without hurting her feelings. He's just scared to say things a certain way. And then what ends up happening is a lot of that stuff festers and he doesn't get out what he needs to say. And then he ends up being mad later and he blows up later. But the other part of it is Lindsay, again, is not a good listener. And she said when he was sitting on the couch talking to her, she was like, it's just like he has a run on sentence. Like she's not listening. She's listening to respond, but she's not listening to actually take in the information that she's learning about him and about herself. Even Pastor Cal was like, look, if you keep acting like you don't know what he's trying to say, then, that's on you. But the other thing is, now she's still upset because things were starting off really fast with the two of them, and then he put the brakes on everything. But one of the reasons why he put the brakes on things is because of the way that she handles situations. His feeling is whenever they go into situations or conversations with other people, he don't know who he getting that day. He don't know what is about to be said, what's coming out of her mouth. She don't think before she speak. She ain't trying to think before she speak. She don't care to think before she speak. She just want to be one of those people. She relishes in, this is who I am, take me as I am. And that doesn't work for everyone. Even Pastor Cal was telling her, that's like a badge of honor for you to be like, well, this is me. And all the time, those type of personalities don't work with other people. It definitely don't work with people who don't like a lot of confrontation, especially when they didn't start the confrontation. But they got to be the one to clean up your confrontation. So I would probably put the brakes on a conversation with a person like that too, or a relationship with a person like that too, because you just stepping on landmines when you're dealing with somebody like that. You don't know what's coming out their mouth. They are not accountable for their actions or for their words, and then their response is always, well, this is just me, and it just shouldn't be that way. So yeah, that's a lot of their issues. So I'm interested in, not even interested, I just kind of wonder if this is going to be what keeps them from being together at the end. Like, I don't know if they are actually together right now, but I can see this being like a very big, red flag as far as he's concerned, as far as how she handles situations, because she just goes on in, she just full, like, full steam ahead. There's no break. She's just all gas all day, every day. I can see how that can scare him. Then I can also see how him kind of putting the brakes on things can kind of bother her as well. So I just wonder where the balance is going to be, or if there's not going to be any balance. You said Mark the Shark may be a big personality, but not all the time. He's going through some emotional trauma right now, and she needs to tone it down for him. I personally agree with that because of the fact that I think he knows that there's a time and place for that personality. And I think that he understands that all the time you can't be on. You just can't be on 24/7. Sometimes you got to come all the way back down. Calm your ass down. And then reassess, and it's not always time to, be a shark like he is, or like everybody calls him. But sometimes you need to reassess the situation and really think about, how it may affect other people. And she doesn't really think about how what she says and how she says things affect him. And again, things could have gone a whole different way back when she was fighting with Elijah. Not to say, now, I don't believe in, men and women getting into arguments and stuff. I think a lot of times, people have to walk away. But the way he said, you keep poking and poking, tells me that she likes to provoke people and then look as though she is the victim after she's finished provoking people to, like, you've pushed people past their limits, and then all of a sudden when these people push back, then you looking, sad and whatever. And so that could be a place of concern for him, because if he's not that kind of person that just likes to keep on poking and poking and poking like she seems to do, she likes to get under people's skin. If you notice, she likes to get under people's skin. Like, that's one of the things she likes to do. I don't know what it is about, I don't know. I don't know if it's privilege. I don't know if she's just, that much unaware that, she really needs to work on that. I don't know what it is, but she definitely needs to look at herself in the mirror and see how she is, affecting other people, and how her words and her actions could have, negative effects on other people. So, I don't know. Mark the Shark, you got a lot to work on. He says she is not self aware. Absolutely not self aware. She's not. I don't think she wants to be. I think she needs to act like that so she can have an out. Like, how some people, you know, they kind of, hey Wendy, a lot of times people act like that, and they kind of lean into, well, I'm kind of naive, or and they do that so that you can expect less from them. And all the time, people not gonna do that. Sometimes they're gonna just hold you accountable for where you are, and what you're doing. And sometimes you might catch some hands in the process, because you don't know who you're gonna roll up on. And Lindsay almost caught them hands from Katina. She almost caught them hands then, and that was, some of the issue that, sometimes you need to stop writing checks with your mouth that you know good and damn well your ass can't cash. Okay, all right, that's your lesson for the day. Let's move on to the next couple. So let's talk about Michael and Jasmine. And let me tell you, I probably should have put them closer to the end. Um, y'all gonna stay off Jasmina. And the reason why I'm gonna say that is because I've seen several things of them saying that Jasmina is mean, and Michael doesn't deserve the way that she's treating him. And let me say that she wasn't like that. You said skip them. We can't skip them. We got to talk about them just for a minute. Let me tell y'all, if I had to deal with somebody that lied as much as Michael, I wouldn't be nice either. Everything he says comes with a twist. And that is the problem. He frustrates the hell out of her. I wouldn't, and even if, here's the thing, we knew coming into this thing, she wasn't that attracted to him. And that happens on this show sometimes. Sometimes the attraction grows. And that's okay. But what the problem is, because he can't be straight up, because he just be lying just because, for lying's sake. Every time she tries to, build something with him, everything gets torn down because he's not being honest. And then we're finding out behind the scenes, he's a little bit more, he tries to be soft spoken in front of a camera, but we're finding out through family, through friends, and through the, different interactions that he tends to buck up a little bit when them cameras not around, raise his voice, and then he ends up making her upset because she's like, I'm not going to accept that level of disrespect from you. And because she has made, her boundaries where you're not going to disrespect me like that, then everybody's saying, well, she just doing whatever. He lost me the last time talking about she needed to apologize because he felt like she cut him off. And even on the after show, it was shown to him that she didn't cut him off. And he still said, well, I guess I was wrong. I guess? You guessing now? All of a sudden it's a guess? No, sir. Let me put this up here. And it's that's what I'm saying. Unnecessary lies. No reason to tell her that no reason not to tell her he had two female roommates. Here's the thing. She has a male roommate. That was what got me. You have a male roommate. She told him that. And he seemed to not get the fact that this is the time to disclose those things. And he also didn't see what was wrong with what he did. That's the other thing. He doesn't see why that's an issue. And that's a problem for me as well. Let me do this, y'all. Let me pause for a minute. Hey, Instagram people, I am going to cut off from here. If you want to finish the conversation and join us over on the other platforms, I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on YouTube, so join me on Heather's Passion Academy either way, and y'all can finish having this conversation with us. See y'all later. Bye. So I had to end that real quick. So the thing about it, though is I ain't gonna say what I was about to say. Be quiet, Heather. Anyway, Michael don't have the luxury of being as dishonest as he's trying to be. He has a lot. He don't have a great personality. Let me say that he doesn't have a great personality. Already. He has been coddled by his sisters, and I'm gonna keep saying that he's been coddled by the women in his life. So he's expecting a certain type of behavior from the rest of the women in his life. Then he also said he has an issue with stuff like I'm gonna let you say it, Sharita. So he's not cute enough to lie like that. Express yourself. Just go ahead. I'm just going to say, when you have been coddled by the women in your life because they allow certain behaviors and activities to happen, you think that everybody is supposed to treat you like that. And what they've been doing is they'll have, because his sisters have, like I said, I didn't like it when they first came to her and they said, please be nice to our brother. And to me, that tells me you trying to set this woman up for some foolishness because of the fact that y'all have been babying him because y'all lost your parents and everything. And it's great that you have older siblings to, take care of you and stand in the gap when if your parents are not available to raise you. Like I tell you, I'm the youngest of 7. And there's 7 years between me and the next sibling. So I have older siblings who, by the time I came into this world, most of them were young adults or they were teens, young adults, out of school. Some of them were parents already by the time I came into this world. And so I have a different perspective of being the youngest when you have older siblings that, some of them kind of end up being second parents to you. Here's the thing, though. Ain't nobody coddling me. I was still expected, even though my parents were alive and well, they were a little older. So maybe they just, they ain't have time to be raising me. They was, anyway. Listen, when you had children in your late 40s and stuff, listen, it's just, hey, it is what it is. But my siblings did not coddle me. And so therefore, I don't expect other people to coddle me. I can compete as far as have conversations with older people or people older than me. Let me stop saying older people. People older than me. Even when I was younger, I was able to hold more mature conversations with people who were older than me. And that was fine. But what I didn't do was expect that because I'm the baby over here or the youngest over here, that everybody needs to treat me as such. And that's the problem that he's had. They have been stepping in and being the woman that he thinks he needs instead of giving him the tools to be the man that he should be. And that comes from them having that guilt of not having parents around and thinking that he needs that type of nurturing instead of also needing the tough love nurturing, which is one day you're going to be somebody's husband. So, you need to be doing this, this, and this. And then with him raising his voice, or being disrespectful, whatever it was that he was doing, and them not checking those types of behaviors when he was younger, but just complaining that he was being that way, that also is attributing to how he is relating to his spouse now, who ain't finna have that. So, and the thing about it is she once didn't know him 9 days ago, and she can go right back to not knowing him again, and that'll be fine. So those are things he needs to fix. I want Jasmina. Jasmina went into mama mode. It was really funny. I wanted to, like I said, people don't care for her, but that's y'all's business. This conversation here, when they were having most of these conversations, you could tell she was pretty much over and done with Michael, because he kept saying he didn't say stuff, and he did. It was just that simple. He was just saying I never said this, but he did. We never had that conversation, but we did. This didn't happen, but it happened. and you can be fed up with somebody. You said, Sharita said, I agree with all of that, but I still don't like Jasmine. I can't put my finger on it, but they aren't it. This is what I think. I think, again, this is another couple they should not have chosen for several reasons. Jasmina has never been in a relationship with someone in the same place with her, in the same city with her. She said most of her relationships have been long distance. So she doesn't really know how to operate in a relationship as well, because of the fact that she ain't never been in a, like, I ain't gonna say real, because a lot of people have been in long distance relationships, but if you've never had a relationship where you have to deal with somebody more than a couple of hours at a time or more than a weekend at a time, then it does change the way that you relate to people in terms of a relationship. So being that she's never actually lived with, a significant other, she's never just been in a consistent relationship with someone in the same city as her, so you'd see them more often, then things are a little bit more things are a little different, because it just is, so I think she's having trouble with actually thinking that I have to live in the same house with a person, and I've been used to kind of coming and going as I please. And then he has a thing of, he just, yeah, he's just Michael. And they just need to stop. If his name is Michael and he black, he don't need to be on this show. Said, honey, I will hold all of my criticism for how awful the matches were until the end. They did terrible with almost every single pair. I believe they did a terrible job with all the pairs, all of them. And then my other thing, let me just go on over here and say this: if we can catch it in film, in editing, why y'all can't catch all this stuff in real time? As far as these people personality quirks, y'all been to their house, so y'all know how weird they really are. They've had to go to their houses. They've been to have one-on-one conversation, and the difference between when people are being genuine and when they're giving you textbook answers. That's the thing I can't understand. It's like you acting like they just throwing you the curveball. Y'all saw how crazy they were before they matched them. And then the other thing is, they're going to stop trying to match people when they have different, like, fundamental differences, like, I don't want kids, I want 5 kids. No, don't match nobody like that. Somebody is a Democrat, somebody is a Republican. Don't match them. It's just that simple. I believe in interracial dating. I only want to date inside my race. Don't do that. It's like they are just throwing stuff at the wall. And then, when somebody, my other thing is, look at their exes. I don't know if y'all look at their exes or not, but if someone tells you they're okay with dating outside of their race, and then you go back and say, right, and I'm going to get to them in a minute. If someone says they don't have a problem with dating outside their race, but then if you look at all of their exes and all their exes are within their race, then it's safe to say that they probably still are choosing people within their own race. So, like, some of this stuff can be avoided. If they say, I like animals, but you don't see them being around, and you don't see no pictures with them and animals and stuff like that. It's just a lot of simple stuff that they could just really avoid by not just trying to over sensationalize a matching show, a dating show, or whatever you want to call it. And, like, I don't know, I had that picture there. I don't know why I had that picture there, but we're gonna move on to the next couple. Let's talk about Steve and Noe. Let me just tell you, I am annoyed by Noe. I am annoyed by Noe. Why am I annoyed by Noe? Because annoying Noe has a lot of non-negotiables that make no sense. She has non-negotiables that make no sense. Like, absolutely no sense. You have a new spouse and you are introducing a new pet to a spouse that may or may not like pets. I don't know if Steve likes pets or not. Again, y'all need to see if people are okay with pets living in the house, because some people are not, or just see if they're open to it. Um, can't explain why they're deal breakers. My thing is, it started out with the dog. Let me say this: I grew up with dogs, so don't get me wrong. I do like, I have a healthy respect for dogs. I grew up with dogs. I had dogs in the house. I won't, unless I have a large home, and I'm talking about a few thousand square feet, several thousand square feet, and a large lot where I can put some nice little dog houses and stuff like that. I'm probably not gonna own a pet like a dog. To me, dogs take a lot more work. I have cats. I've always had cats. I grew up with cats too. I grew up with cats and dogs. Um, dogs take a lot of work. Dogs take a lot of one-on-one work. Cats, you can get them some food, get them a little litter box. You might not see them for 3 or 4 days. They might leave the house. They might be tired of you today. Um, that's how I like my animals. I like my animals like I like myself. I don't really want to be bothered today. I'm not gonna talk to you today. The cats don't give a damn as much as you don't give a damn. Okay, okay. People always talk about cats and the as far as the litter boxes and stuff like that. You look, if you know how to keep a house clean, you won't have that trouble either. Um, you just gotta be. You just gotta know you have to be on it when it comes to keeping it, with anybody with any animals. You have to just keep it extra clean. You have to clean more than you would clean after kids. So extra responsibility. Anyway, back to the dog thing. Ain't no way in hell a dog gonna sleep with me in my bed. I just no. But and that was okay when she was by herself with her dog. But when he's asking where's the dog gonna sleep when we both in the bed, and she like he gonna be right here in my face. Um, so that means if his face is in your face, and let's just say he in the middle of the bed, that means his butt is gonna be in Steve's face or somewhere around there. He may not be okay with the dog sleeping. He's trying to be okay with you having this dog in the bed. It would be different if you said the dog can sleep at the foot of the bed or something like that. Or, he's trying to come up with compromises like, okay, maybe we could put the dog on a little bed, next to, and she's just like, no, he's gonna want to be in my face. No, you're gonna want him in your face. The animals, just like babies, just like everybody else, they can be trained to do whatever you need them to do. You just have to make sure that that's not what she wants. She wants the dog in her face. She wants Steve in her face too. And that's just not going to work out because he's already showing you he got a little bit of trepidation about that. That's something that you need to pull back on and say, wait, okay, do you have a problem with this? Not are you okay with it? Is this going to create a problem for us? And then if it does, then you need to revisit how you interact with your dog at night and start to think about a different way for him to sleep or even be in the room. Because at least he is open to the dog being in the room at night. There is no animal that can be in my room at night. When I'm asleep, I'm asleep. Now, when we had another animal, we had another cat. He was just different though. He could come sleep on the foot of the bed, and that was it. And then he would leave at a certain time of night, and he'd be like, "Okay, I'm sick of y'all. I just wanted to get warm." But again, cats are different animals from dogs. Dogs need a little bit more one-on-one care, and especially when she's built everything that she does around her and this dog, it's kind of like Steve coming into their life. So it's just a little bit different. The other thing was he was saying he really having an issue with maybe having to pick up after the dog as far as like, poop scooping and everything. And I think that's a realistic fear. Especially when I didn't sign on for an animal. I don't want to have to clean up after it. I just, it's just one of those things. It's different for me, let me say this. I have children too. I think it's different when you take on children versus animals. I just think it is. I think it's just different. I'll be willing to help you with your child, more often than I'd be willing to help you with your animal. That's me. And then when you talk about cleanup and everything, I can help you with your child a lot better than I can help you with your animal. That's just the truth of it for me. And it's the truth of it for a lot of people. I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's, where your priorities are. So with her having this dog, then they go over to the apartment and she's like, "Do you want to hold him?" You see how he looking at that dog? He don't want to hold your dog, girl. He trying to be nice because this dog is part of your life. You cannot expect him to have the same amount of love for your animal as you have. You cannot expect that if he says, "I can't even clean up after my brother dog because it does something to me," then that's your cue of, okay, well, we may not be working together on this dog. And then she's like, "Hold him special way because he's old and do this because he's old." No, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Okay. No, ma'am. Let me tell you the other thing I had an issue with. Now, they were sitting down talking to Pastor Cal. I find it interesting because all season long, look, see, Pastor Cal look bewildered, don't he? He looks bewildered. That face right there is just, what? That's how he looking at, what? What did you say? Okay. So this is what I found to be strange. We all know Steve ain't necessarily looking for a 9 to 5 no more. That ain't really his ministry at this moment. He don't really want to do it. I don't see anything wrong with it because people earn money and take care of themselves in different ways. So there's no right way or wrong way to earn money to take care of yourself. Steve was fired from his job and he took that time, or I guess he said laid off, and he took that time to, do something he'd never done before. He took a 4 month vacation and went around, down the coast of I guess the East Coast, and went backpacking, things like that. Stuff that people like to do, and I don't have anything against that. I think he got that little taste of, what it feels like to not necessarily be in a 9 to 5 situation. And I don't think he wants to go back to that. Now, on the other hand, I don't know where he is financially, but something tells me he's not necessarily financially hurting, which is why you don't see him, clamoring to go back to a regular 9 to 5. He does a lot of freelance jobs, which means that, you'll see him, he named a few things that he does. And you got to understand, people who, there again, several ways to earn money, and it all doesn't have to be the same way. Those who believe in that steady 9 to 5 punch a clock, be there however many years, retire at this age, have your 401k together. Those people don't understand people who have a different method as to where and how they're going to earn their money, and also the value. He values experiences over things. So they have fundamental differences again when it comes to that. I thought because they have similar backgrounds that this is going to help, but I don't know. But here's the thing. You're hearing him say this, and then you come up with, my non-negotiable is I want 3 children. And he's like, I was thinking maybe we start with 1 and then see how it goes. And she's like, nope, 3. 3 is it. 3 is the number that we have to have. She hadn't thought anything past that. She ain't thought about what if, 1 puts you in financial situation where you can't afford more children. What if 1 is disabled? What if you can't have more children? What if you damn near die having the first one? What if it takes you a long time to conceive? What if, things just happen to where it just can't happen for you? She hadn't thought about any of those things. She just noticed it's 3 children in her family and all her cousins. It's 3 of them and to me, that is the strangest thing to be hell bent on is 3 children. 3? Ma'am, I have 7. I don't know what the hell my problem is. But I know that 3 was not an easy number. When we had 3, 3 wasn't easy. 2 was easy. 3 wasn't easy. 3 was not easy. 1 is easy. 3 was not easy. Okay. So I just wonder why they would put him on the show, though. It's a pretty big deal for people who just met at the altar. Technically, he's unemployed, even though I can tell he got banking. He could easily go back to swim ready. But this is a hard conversation for any America. Absolutely, especially if you don't have the same mindset about going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking about, it takes a long time sometimes for people to get out of one mindset and look at another mindset. So you talking about, if I'm talking about building a family with you, I'm going to be worried if you talked about, maybe we could just, live in my car and we could go backpacking. And yeah, we can have some kids. Maybe we'll get an RV, and I'm gonna look at you like you done lost your damn mind because I don't want my babies living like that. But you said growing up, I've always wanted 3. Both of my parents were the oldest of 3, and I thought that was cool. See, and I think that's cool too. Honestly, I never had a number in mind. Just didn't. We just happened to end up with 7 people. The interesting thing about me is that I have 7. My mom had 7 and her mom had 7. So it just happened to be that kind of a pattern. Again, wasn't looking to do that, but that's just where we are in life and, whatever. But I can get that, it seems like a cool thing to want to be kind of like your parents and everything. But even she was talking about them struggling, having only 2 shirts and being refugees, not having running water, and scared that her family is going, scared that she don't want to raise her kids, and be broke and things like that. But now you pair it with somebody who's like, we could live in a yurt and not be okay. And that's not okay with you. So maybe you need to rethink this number, let's see if we like each other long enough to procreate. Number 1. Number 2, let's see how 1 goes. Let's have 1 and see how that 1 goes. And then if we're at a place where financially we can afford it and we're mentally in a good place, all right, let's try 2. And then maybe 3. Because let me tell you something. Tell y'all something. If you ain't had no kids, number 1, if the first one is an easygoing kid, number 2 is going to be your hell raiser. Ask anybody who has more than 1. Number 1, if your number 1 child is your easy child, the second one will make you rethink fertility. I'm telling you, you will have to really decide if you want your reproductive organs after you have that second one. So you may not want a third one after the second one. I'm just saying, listen, ask anybody they got 2 or more. Okay. That was it. And I tell folk all the time, and he know it, so I can say this because my second child is 20, so whatever. I always say if he was the first, he would have been the last. So it's just like that. You always have that balance of you got 1 that's pretty cool and you have a hellion, and it's like, you know what? No. So it took a long time for me to decide on a third. Like, if that third one didn't just show up, he wouldn't have been here either. But that's how it is. You have to know this. But the thing that I also think that's really ignorant on her part is I don't think she's actually talked to the people in her family who have these kids, because she said it seemed to work for them. And my thing is, no, it seemed to work out. There's a difference between things that work and things that happen to work out. That happened to work out for all of them, that they had 3. So you don't know how long it took them. You don't know if all of them were oops babies. You don't know, if they had a fertility issue. You don't know. You don't know if they have had several pregnancy losses in between. You don't know if this damn near caused divorce. Sometimes having kids that's too much like their parent will cause you to want to divorce them and their parent. So you don't know. It just happened to work out that everybody was good with their three, but you don't know the journey they made it to or had to go through to get to those three. So I don't know. I don't know all that crying and stuff. I'm like, Noy, sit down somewhere. You don't even, you scared of everything. And then you want to have three kids, and dude done told you he has earning potential, but it may not look like what you think it's going to look like. And you want stability. You want a different type of stability that I don't think he's willing to offer. And yeah, not sure I understand. I didn't ask you watch. So my watch is talking back to me. So I don't think that when it comes to that, those are other fundamental differences they should have thought about when they decided to put all these people together. Now we're gonna talk about y'all favorite couple because they're not mine. Um, they're not my favorite couple. Um, mm, Elijah One and Katina. Let me tell y'all something. Elijah One couldn't be my nephew. He could not be my nephew. I got nephews. I got nieces and nephews their age. All these people that are in their early 30s, I have nieces and nephews in their age group. And that's right, Sharita. None of them are my favorite. This year, I'm just watching it. I'm just watching it. Um, I've told people before I don't care for Elijah One. I think he relies heavily on um his quote past of being a playboy and all this type of stuff, and I feel like he's bringing a lot of that into his relationship, even though he's trying to make it seem like he's, a better person. I don't like it. You said he gives misogynistic vibes. Let me tell you another thing, and take this how you like it. But Elijah One was raised by, and here's the thing. I believe single parents can raise anybody to be anything. I don't think it takes a man to raise a young man to make him a good man. I think women do excellent job. Every day we see, people being raised by their moms, and they come out to be great people. So I don't believe in that. I do believe, however, when it comes to certain things culturally, there's an issue because Elijah One has, he is biracial. He's raised by his white mom. He has a black dad. Every woman in his life, so far, even his sister-in-law, most of the women that he has been around, as far as influential women, have been white women. And I think that there are some cultural differences there when it comes to that, because there are certain things that I believe when you have black mamas, there's just things you just ain't gonna say or do because of how you'll be, treated when it comes to them. The other thing is, I think he's relied heavily on being a light skinned black man. I'm gonna just say it. I think, and a lot of times, and we know this as a culture, that sometimes people have with lighter skin, and he ain't light skin. He middle of the road as far as I'm concerned, but he's lighter skin and he has decent, features, and he has a looser curl pattern and stuff like that. All those things for me point to there are certain privileges he's just been allotted because of those looks. And so those looks and the way that he's been trained and everything seems to be the reason why he thinks he should be held in whatever standard he think he belongs in. So those are those things. And I'm willing to tussle with anybody when it comes to this. But the other thing is, he has expectations about a wife, and he ain't never seen a successful marriage. Let him tell it. I'm like, what are you talking about, boo? And then this is what got me. I gotta show y'all this. First of all, this is them going into the house, and then here's the thing. I want Katina to speak up. I need her to speak up a little bit louder. And I think it's real cute to think that only time that you're gonna have a conversation to get your spouse together is off camera. But as much smoke as he give her, she need to give it right back to him. And I think that'll resolve a lot of things when it comes to their relationship, because she seems to want to be mild mannered when it comes to him and give him the respect of, that's her husband, but he needs to also respect her as his wife and stop talking all this crazy mess and jumping out. Like, he goes from zero to he about it. He is as irritating as Lindsay. There you go. He just male and black. That's it. So this is him showing her his house, and he was really proud of his house. And then he asked her when they were walking in the house, "Is there anything you could change?" He really didn't mean that. He don't want to change nothing because he think it's perfect. He think everything that's going on in his house look good and it's perfect. And pointed out, when she pointed out them coffee curtains, baby, he was upset. First of all, if I'm not mistaken, isn't espresso spelled wrong on that curtain? Can somebody tell? Ain't it ESPRE? I'm finna look it up. Espresso. ESPRE. Yes, it's supposed to be espresso. ES. So I don't know if he got he got these great value curtains. Baby, it's spelled wrong. And I had to zoom in on this. What is happening? And he proud of it. I would change those out too. But everything in his house is brown and tan, and it's bland for him to be such a perceivably vibrant person. His decor does not reflect the kind of person that he actually is. So I find that to be funny, that he was also slightly offended because she said she changed out them curtains. Baby, I would change them too. I would set them off. Look, I would take them over to Mark's house. And then all that stuff they finna set on fire, I would incinerate them curtains along with Mark's stuff, because them curtains are hideous and they got a misspelled word on them, and we not doing this in 2022. I don't be knowing. I don't know why. Yeah, it's gotta go. Gotta go. Okay, so let me just talk about this meeting, because I want to talk about Pastor Kyle's face when he called Elijah One out on what he was asking for. Now, this is the first time, I ain't gonna say first time, but I'm glad that Pastor Kyle was able to say. Now, when we were interviewing you, you didn't say nothing about it's a requirement for your wife to have to be able to cook. That wasn't one of the things that we talked about. And he was, no, that wasn't it. Now, we didn't say that. I don't like that. Because here's the thing with Elijah One. He got a lot to say, and he got a whole lot of bass in his voice for women. But when a man comes at him, all of a sudden he can pipe that shit down real quick. And so I don't trust men like that. Because if you got enough smoke for women, you got that same amount of smoke for men. But you don't see that with him. And especially someone like Pastor Kyle that's in more of a parental role, he pipes all the way down. He ain't got all that in him. He know, because even Pastor Kyle was like, maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago. And in my mind, I'm like, really, Pastor Kyle, you talking about maybe 40, 50, 60 years ago? Because even 30 years ago, that was in the 90s. Wasn't nobody staying at home and cooking like that. But anyway, I got what he was saying. He was saying you want an expectation of a spouse to, come home and cook for you and things like that. And that's just unrealistic. And he's saying, well, I'm going to be cook. I told her I'm going to cook too, and all this type of stuff. I'm like, you sure do backpedal a lot off of some of the stuff you tell her, because you all up in her face talking about what's a non-negotiable and what she got to do, and she need to learn how to cook and all this stuff. But then when you've been outright asked by an older man, then all of a sudden you like, oh, I was just playing. Hell. I tell you right now, if Elijah One was one of my nephews, I'm going to have 10 seconds with that ass, because we are not going to act like this on anybody's internet. I don't care if it's Beyonce, Steve Jobs, or Al Gore, but we're not going to be acting like that representing me. won't be doing it. And then I'm gonna pull Katina to the side if she was my niece-in-law, and I'd be like, girl, we ain't raised him like that. Don't be accepting that mess from him. Get on in there and tell him what he needs to hear. And so, you know, that is, it's just crazy. You said, what are the requirements for him? He has all these standards for her, but I ain't seen it. She really didn't have any expectations of him. And I think that's one of the problems that I feel is going to be an issue with the two of them, because I haven't heard her say anything in the way of, she having any expectations as far as her husband is concerned. I think her biggest thing is don't cheat on me, because remember when we met her, she said all of her relationships ended in someone cheating on her. I think that's her biggest thing, is just don't cheat on her. But I think also she has set herself up to allow any kind of behavior to happen. So because she has been cheated on so much, the fact that he won't cheat on her is going to be the bare minimum that he has to do in order to keep her. And she is, he could do everything, but well, at least he didn't cheat on me. And that's going to be a problem, I think, for her, because if all you value is I'm staying married to him because he's not a cheater, but he doesn't really meet any other needs that you may not even know you have, because maybe all of your relationships ended, to the point where you actually didn't figure out what it is that you need, then, like I said, he can just continue to do the bare minimum, which is every once in a while throw a banana at her in the morning for breakfast, and, and tell her, give her all these empty promises that he seems to have on the tip of his tongue, and she'll be okay with that. So I'd like to see her evolve a little bit more and see what it is that she really needs in a long-term relationship, other than someone to not cheat on her, because again, that's a bare minimum. That's like something that, that's like asking somebody that, if they take a shower every day, whatever, just regular stuff like, can I drink water or whatever. But it's not, to me, enough for it to be, she's not requiring that much from him. In other words, I don't see it, and I don't see her pushing back where she needs to push back as often. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out. All right, let's talk about this last couple so we can all, I don't know. Let's just, y'all, I will be so excited if they don't show them for 1 minute on any other episode, including the reunion. They don't need to show them on the reunion either. Do not show them on the reunion. We don't care. We don't need to know. We don't want to know. We want them off the camera. There's no need to film them. This conversation here that she had with her mama was enough information to let me know everything I needed to know about this little girl, even though the past 6 episodes gave me that as well. Her mom and her was talking about, oh, I thought you'd be with a cowboy type. I'm sorry, what? It's like they don't know the premise of the show. The other thing is, and don't get me wrong, I see a lot of people saying, you're allowed to not be attracted to the person that they pair you with. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that at all, because there've been a lot of people on this show who were not initially physically attracted to the person they were paired with. I think that you have to go into this experience knowing that you may not be paired with someone that you would necessarily find attractive in your normal way of life, right? Sometimes you have to come to a conclusion of understanding that maybe, you have to be patient enough to figure out if this person has other qualities and attributes that outweigh the physical, as far as facial features and everything. They may find that they vibe with a person, and I don't think that it's wrong to say I wasn't attracted to this person initially. Jasmina said he was cute, and to me that was like, he was alright, but he wouldn't be anybody that I would have been interested in. I don't think that that's a problem. I don't think that's ever a problem coming into any of these experiments like that, because you're not going to always get what you asked for. That wasn't a problem. The problem was her creating a whole narrative about him so that people can feel bad for her, because he wasn't what she had envisioned for herself to be with. And if you go back, and I'm not going to pull none of her social media because nope. She likes muscle heads. She like, dudes that look like they may be weightlifters and things like that. They are, yeah, all of that. Hold on, I'm gonna hold that comment until I get to that point. Because she has a certain look that she was looking for, and she didn't get it in Chris. But what tripped me out, I'm like, you can't. I got this thing about you can't be expecting from people what you can't offer. And my thing is, you standing there looking like Squidward, but you talking about him being out of shape. So I don't really understand that. Like I tell folk all the time, I ain't want to talk about nobody. I ain't been a size 0 in a long time, so I don't even know what that looked like on me. And I wouldn't expect that I would come into, that I should have a mate that has like a 10-pack or anything like that. If they do, that's great. But if it's based off of me and my appearance, if I'm not giving my 100% best, then I can't expect somebody else's 100% best. So sometimes you need to act, your weight or your, body shape, because, you can't be shaming somebody else's body and looking like whatever you looking. Here's the other thing. Then she goes to talk to her mom about his IG page and found out that he wants to defund the police. And now I will put this caption up here. He said, I just know. She was at the Capitol January 6th. Listen, when she said that, and she seemed very distraught about him doing that, I was like, baby, you showing all your little hand right now. This is really funny. And the other thing about it is I didn't capture anything from Chris's conversation with his friend. He was actually talking to his friend who was a police officer, and he was like, she never asked me anything about that. She just saw it on an IG post. She didn't get any, basically she's not looking to understand. She's looking for an out. And that was one thing that Chris had kind of just started to peep. Like, there's nothing that he can say that's going to make her want to, stay with him or anything like that, because she's finding ways to not engage with him. All these different activities that they did, it just wasn't going to be enough, because she was going to find a reason to, just be, he has aggressive hands and he said this. And I'm like, girl, you just sound bad. At this point, you just sound like somebody making up stuff. And I can't even believe that he did anything off camera, because even from their accounts and everybody else's, they didn't have a lot of time together off camera. So how are you coming up with this narrative that he's just been evil to you and disrespectful to you, and he ain't even talking to you? Y'all can't talk a good 5 minutes because you won't have conversations with him, just simply because of the fact that you find him to be disgusting to look at, pretty much. And I'm like, girl, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. But I wish her mama had called her out in that conversation. But I think her mama, even her, let me make the picture bigger. I think her mama was looking at her like, girl, what? I feel like that. I feel like even her mama was just kind of looking at her like, everything you saying sound like a lie. But she ain't gonna say that no more, because her child on TV, and Really, it's a reflection of you once, when your child acting like that. Let me show y'all this other picture right here. I always look at Pastor Cal. I don't really care to look at the conversations happening. I always look at where he's at, his body language. And I saw that folks were kind of disappointed in the way that he was talking to the two of them because they felt like he should have really kind of grilled her some more. And let me tell you, when people done, they done. I don't think he should have grilled her no more because it was more so like, oh, okay, well, Chris, you want to call it quits? Okay, then, well, y'all may. It was good. Okay, I'm going to head on now. It was like that. Ain't nobody finna waste their time with this girl no more because they've already wasted time, effort, energy, and resources just for her to act so crazy the whole time. And just, it was a simple thing of you could have just, it was just too much for me. She just wasn't attracted to him, period. That's all she could have said. But if they had talked, I don't think they would have connected. Back to the earlier point about the experts picking folks that aren't even remotely compatible. Their political views are different enough. They would be a deal breaker. Also, she apparently is allergic to all his dog, but not hers. That was the other thing. Like, what? What? I'm allergic to dogs. Just yours, though. I'm only allergic to your dog. I ain't allergic to my dog or any other dogs because I rescue dogs, but I'm allergic to your dog. So my thing is, by her just not being upfront and honest and saying, I just could not, get past the, lack of a physical connection, and this is just not a person I can envision myself with, then it turned into a bunch of stuff where she was trying to control the narrative by saying he was doing all these things to her when it started right after the wedding, and it just never evolved into anything because she was too busy trying to squeeze tears out of her eyes, trying to tell everybody she's a good person, try to talk about how aggressive his hand gestures are. She didn't like his teeth. She didn't like all of this other stuff. So it could have been that easy. Hey, you know what? This is not a person I'd be interested in. We can get to know each other, but even if nothing else happens at the end of this experiment, maybe we can, maybe be friends or whatever, or not. It could have been that simple for her to just own up to the fact that she wasn't attracted to him. I don't think anybody blamed her for that. It was just the way that she handled the whole situation. And she got a free damn vacation. I didn't like that. He said, do you remember at the beginning, there was a huge point she needed to have someone who loves dogs. I'm like, fool, he got a whole husky. That was her thing. And, let me just say, people keep saying that physical attraction, the physical thing shouldn't be that much. I agree to a point, though. Like, if you're talking about a matter of working out versus, people got normal dad bods, I think that's a little much. I think that if you're talking about like facial features, like you don't have an attractive face for me or to me, not even for me, but to me, your face isn't attractive to me. That can be a point where you got to think about like, I got to wake up to you every day. Those are things that you may not be able to fix, and ain't nobody finna invest in no plastic surgery for that. I think that you become more unattractive when you have less in common. I think people become more attractive when they find common ground. And two things, if you're not willing to find common ground, you're not going to see anything past the attraction. And the other thing is, if you feel like you better than everybody and that you deserve way more than you think, you'll never find common ground with people who would absolutely give you a chance when you don't even deserve one. So, you can cut yourself out of a lot of things only being solely focused on appearances. But let me also say this. and this ain't got nothing to do with her. This is just an overall observation, because I won't ever give her no credit. Uh, a lot of times women are told to look past the looks a lot more than men. A lot of times I hear people getting out there and they say stuff like, he looked better when he got fat pockets, and women get talked about a lot if they want a guy that's a certain height, a certain build, or a certain, facial features and everything. And we're told a lot of times that those things aren't important. But if you swap it out, if you look at what men are told, they always want what they call the total package. And a lot of times they're not knocked for not liking someone that they don't deem to be attractive, even if that person is an attractive person, but they just don't like them. Nobody says, well, you're like, you should just look past all of that because, whatever. But a lot of times women are told that because, there's a greater good, or girl, you ain't gonna have too many more chances to find a husband. What if that's your husband? You could be a little short man, this and that, and he might be ugly, but he treats you well and all that kind of stuff. But we don't give that same energy to men about women. That's just being honest. But they always want you to dig, when you women, they always want you to dig deeper, dig a little deeper, girl, because he might be the person that treats you the best and want to take care of you. But you might find a woman that's unattractive that wants to treat you like however you want to be treated, and we just don't see that same value when it comes to men and women. We just don't. And it says, what? Do you remember Jamie in season 1? Yep. She suffered through, and now them fools are still married and got kids and everything. It's what? Girl, they bought an RV. They went and sold everything in their house, and now they going up and down the United States. They try to world school their children. They just doing them. Because Jamie did not like Doug at all. But the difference was, I think the difference is that, first of all, it was their first season. And also they had time to like really it wasn't so, to me it wasn't so much pressure the first few seasons to like y'all having sex, y'all go ahead and have sex because married people have sex. It wasn't like that. It was really having to get to know the ins and outs of people and getting to know their heart. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Doug had his niece a lot, and they got to spend time with the family and everything, so she grew to understand the type of person he was. Because I mean, honestly, Doug was not the most attractive, excuse me, he wasn't the most attractive person. But I think one thing about it was he was willing to show her, who he was as far as the kind of person he was. But she was also willing to continue the process to see why they thought that they were matched. And that's the thing. I think a lot of them lose sight of the idea of the purpose of these 6 to 8 weeks. They used to do 6 weeks, but now it's 8. But I think they lose the idea of the purpose is to find out why we're matched, and not necessarily to look at all this other stuff. So that's why a lot of people kind of get on people when they start talking about they're not attractive and this and that. And then also that's why I feel like they need to pull back on the sexual part, because I think this is the thing. As your neighborhood sexuality and intimacy coach, when everything else runs together smoothly, sex is never an issue. It's never an issue when everything else falls in place. So if your needs are being met emotionally, if your needs are being met spiritually, financially, all those things, if none of those things are an issue, and both of y'all are on the same page, and you have the same goals in mind, even if you have to come together and figure out what those goals are, once you have all those things in place, then sex will fall into place. Once you've had all those understandings together, then you don't have to worry about the sex part. You don't. That's how it works, because you need to have all these other things. If I tell you I need to feel safe and secure, you can't provide me safety, then I don't want to have sex with you. If I tell you that my security is, making sure that you keep me first when I feel like you might be hanging out with your friends, and you do that, then, then though that need is being met. If I tell you I need this particular thing and you can, afford me that thing, and you can make all those things, those other things, those little small things work, then I'm telling you the sex is never the issue. It's never the issue. You said, I'm actually shocked that O and Katina haven't. I feel like Pastor Cal gave them the freedom to proceed. Let me tell you something. I think O need to back off of. I think it was good for him to not engage in sex, because I don't think he knows how to be in a um, emotional sexual relationship. I think that he has sex as a means to a release. I don't think he's actually ever had an emotional connection with anyone. And it's funny because this is one of them times, I don't know, Pastor Cal. I think he need to pull back only because of the fact that he be dogging women out. And if she is still having trouble with his cuddling skills, trust me on this. If he can't even cuddle, because something tells me he goes straight from cuddling to trying to do everything else, she needs a certain amount of stability within that relationship that I don't think he can offer yet. And even if it doesn't work out, because I mean they can have sex and still divorce, I would hold off another couple of weeks. Only because, number one, it's only been 9 days. I know most of them, they kind of jump right into it at the honeymoon. But if he's saying he having a problem and he can't do it right now, believe him. Believe him. Believe him. But in this time, you need to tell him what you need sexually from him. You need to understand how to connect on a different level emotionally. And then he needs to make sure he's listening and understanding everything that she's going to need from him in order for it to not just be another bang, 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 bang night. Because I feel like that's where it ends up for him. I think he goes from 0 to 50 real quick. There's no in between. Ain't no foreplay. Ain't none of that. It's just take them drawers off. Let's do it. I'm over it. It's done. Good. I think that's where the problem is. I don't know. That's how I feel. I just feel that way. And I think that that's the only place where I agree that they need to maybe back off a little bit and get to know other things about each other first. Um, 'Cause something just tells me he's never asked a woman what she enjoys sexually. And I can say that a little bit because, right, like at the reception, he went right into like lap dancing and everything. He was like, I'm trying to show her what I can do. And I'm like, that's about right. That's about right. For his, for Isaac, his alter ego, he seems like he's a performer. Like, let me show you what I can do. But then he's not good. He's not able to make good on um, the needs of the person that he's engaging with. So, he uses. This is just me and my assessment. I don't know these people. I ain't never talked to them, but I feel like he just uses women in place of a toy. I'm trying to not have too many words. So he uses women in place of a toy. So there's never an emotional connection when he's having sex with them. So in order for them to build something for real, he need to back off. And she need to tell him exactly what she needs. And that way he can meet those needs and they can build a good, strong sexual and emotional relationship too. That's my 2.5, 35 cents. And, whatever. Anyway, last thing here, baby. This right here took me out. This took me out. Chris is like, y'all can have this funk ass ring and these keys because I ain't coming back. I'm glad that he was the one that pulled the plug on this relationship. He said, this is my decision day. I think that Alyssa feelings were hurt because she really thought she was going to be the one to say This ain't it. But Chris was like, nope, you done talk all you want to, all these hours and hours and hours like I wasn't there. And here it is. Here's the final nail in the coffin. You want to be set free? Then fly away, little bird. You free. Bye. See you later. You ain't finna move into this apartment I moved in. You did not. And that's what needed to happen. Sometimes you need that little piece of medicine right there. And I think she needed that. And I don't feel bad about it. I think that was, Chris was well in his right to move in and also make the decision to end everything, because she's made decisions about this relationship the entire time, 10 days, 12 days, 10 days that they were in this relationship. She made the move and said she didn't feel comfortable. They got her own hotel room the night before. She got on the trip, got to put a production, a PA in between the two of them on the plane ride to Puerto Rico, got a free trip to Puerto Rico and hang out with her friends. Got to go back on a different flight so she didn't have to sit next to him. She made all this fuss about she don't like the way he looks. She don't want to hang out with him and all this type of stuff. So yes, he gets to have the final say on where this relationship is headed, and he said it's headed to court because we not finna do this no more. So that's what I think. Yeah, and that was the other thing that was so absurd. Talking about she wanted to split custody of the apartment when they get back so she can hang out with her friend. Ma'am, these are not your friends. They don't even want to be around you. They don't even want to film with you. I don't even know what you're talking about. Ma'am, please sit down somewhere. He said party over. Party is over. Yes. So yes. And that was the thing. You needed to close the book on this relationship because it wasn't worth the time that we spent on it. It was not. All the things that she said could have been said in the first couple of days before they. And I keep saying I do fault production because she shouldn't have ever been able to board that plane. She shouldn't have been able to go on the honeymoon. When she said she didn't feel, like she wanted to be in the same room with him and all this type of stuff, Pastor Kyle was like, how you gonna be married at first sight and now you scared of being in bed with somebody? I mean, you got cameras everywhere. Like, what's really gonna happen? I don't even think the cameras go away when we think they go away. But I'm just saying, a lot of things she was setting up to make it seem like he's a dangerous person, when all she could have said was, I don't like him like that. That's really all she could have said, and that could have been the end of it. So I'm glad that we closed the book on it. And let me also say, I'm not a fan of Chris. I'm not. But right now, I like him better than her. But I've never been a fan of him. I always thought when the show first came out, I thought I'd be, ready to be done with him. But might have the tables turned. So, yeah. She showed herself to be the person that, that she was. So I had an issue with the whole. I was tired of it. I'm just be honest. I'm tired of it, and we still got a whole 10 more episodes to go, something like that. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's going on. But that's all I have, y'all. I sure thank y'all for hanging out with me this evening. Y'all know I be doing the most. We be talking about the most, and I don't mind talking about the most with y'all as long as y'all want to keep talking with me. And so I thank y'all for taking this time out this weekend. Maybe we'll do it a little bit earlier next time because we do have some people that wanted to chime in. And then also just let me know, message me and let me know if you want to actually come on and talk with me. I don't have a problem with that. You just got to let me know that you're a real person. So if you do want to join in, when we do our Married at First Sight reviews, then just let me know. That'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, one day I'm gonna go back to what's the name of this show? Oh my goodness, Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't know about that. Thank you. Yeah, folks may be watching the game. I ain't worried about them folks watching the game. They can catch the replay. But thank you for joining me, Sharita. But yeah, if you guys want to come and join us on the next one, we'll be talking on the weekends about Married at First Sight. I might bring in Ladies Who List, and then also, what's that other one? Not well, Love is Blind too, but also Ready to Love. That's it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me so much. Hopefully y'all got something from it. And if you're catching the replay, just write a little message down in the comments and share it with a friend. And thank you. Thank you again for joining. All right, y'all have a good one. Bye.